Oh, that sucks. TNA stars can't work Maple Leaf because um, they're saying because of the affiliation with AEW. I guess Moose was trying to work some dates, and they basically he didn't say it while saying it. Like, oh yeah, I talked to him, but can't really do. Names right now from TNA. The one that just came back.
Uh, just came back.
The one right when Jordan Grace is leaving.
I don't know who you're talking about. I really don't.
Tessa Blanchard.
Oh, Tessa Blanchard, that one. Okay, I was like, who are you? I don't. Okay, yeah. So yeah, but even then they have Tessa, and then the belt is on Ash by Elegance. Like, okay, Dana Brooks your champion, so like I don't know where they go from here. It's probably just gonna go back on Masha anyway.
True.
But then
Gonna be
NXT is
live
gonna steal
already.
Masha. Anyways, welcome guys. As Peanut and I go on a tangent, as we are known to do, to the first edition of Chef's Table. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. We're gonna be, as you guys can see, I have some panels here, but I don't have things quite how I want it. Like underneath me is supposed to be the chat. The sound alerts do pop up down there though, so that's good. I have that working. And then the panel to the right is supposed to be the guest camera or whatever, but I didn't figure that out yet, so we're just gonna leave that for now. So Peanut's just gonna be a voice in the ether this time around, but in the future we're gonna have that in there. Or if I have a guest like Dan, you'll be able to see them next to me. Um, that's what I'm hoping these mics. I may have to hook them up somewhere further away or something like that because it's supposed to be able to hit two people because it's easier to set up that way. But I don't know how I'm gonna do that yet.
Do it like Chris Van Vliet, where he puts it like in the middle of the coffee table.
Yeah, I meant to put it like in between us here, but like a bit further out, so we can just kind of talk into it without into it, and then it's a bit further
Yeah.
out. That might be the best bet because he just hooks up to like his phone in like the middle of the room. which I think is a good way of doing it. That's what I was gonna do for when I was in Europe. I was just gonna hook things up and like carry it with me. But if the mic is too loud, everyone's gonna hear a louder feedback. That's the worry. So I have to hope that at least in the chat, it's not as bad as it is for like you in Discord. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But welcome on in, Peanut. I'm glad you're here because we've been talking about it for a while. And we're just gonna talk. We're not. There's nothing in particular here with this program. Um, but Peanut, what got you started to were you like in streaming in general? Like, what got you into it, and why is it that you continue to build your brand that way? Like, is it something that inspired you to start doing it, or you just felt like I'm just gonna do this?
So with me building my brand, at first I wasn't too fond on like streaming. Like I didn't understand it. My whole thing was, why are people watching other people play instead of playing the game? Like
Yeah,
that was my whole thing about it.
yeah.
So I my buddy would tell me, he's like, hey, I would watch people and just see how they play so I can get better. I was like, that doesn't make sense. Like I would play the game and just get better while we're playing. Yeah, sometimes I have shit games. Eventually I'd be the guy last alive. Let's say we're playing Call of Duty and I'm the guy last alive and I'm trying to clutch it for everybody. Yeah, sometimes I wouldn't
Yeah.
clutch, but that was my whole spiel. I'm like, why? And then I was like, you know what? I keep playing these games. I see one of my buddies called Trader. He's like, hey, you know, I'm streaming. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll join his streams and I'll be playing games with him. I'm like, you know what? I went to high school with this guy. If he can do it, I can do it.
if this
So
if this asshole could do it, anyone could do it.
pretty much, so I was like, you know what? Let me try this. So I got myself a PC, got myself a camera and everything. I'm like, I'll try this out. I already had the setup. I didn't get too crazy with it. And then eventually, just started getting more pieces slowly but surely. Got my cam, got a much better mic, and then just kept moving forward. And I'm like, you know what? It's actually pretty fun because I'm already an avid gamer. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna keep gaming, and why not just turn on a camera while I'm on it? So I just kept doing that, and eventually just kept meeting people. I'm like, you know what? Let me see what other people are like. So I started joining other channels and seeing some people were dicks, didn't really pay attention to their channel. They got like 24K people watching them, and it's too hard. I get it, too many people, but at least acknowledge some people.
Yeah, like I try to the best of my ability. If it's a busier the normal thing, and I'm always looking at it the entire time. When I'm talking, basically like this, for example, I'm looking at the chat more than the camera, so I can see anything that pops up. Oh, okay, I can acknowledge that at the same time. It's in the same screen anyway, so it only looks like I'm slightly off looking over, so I can see what's going on. Because it's important. That's people like to be acknowledged. We're a very like we have to be acknowledged. Acknowledge me. We're all Roman Reigns, really. Uh, we have
Pretty
to be
much.
acknowledged. But people appreciate that. Like I see it all the times. Like some bigger ones, they don't even talk to their chat at all. They just go and do whatever. And I was like, I don't how do people not how do people watch someone who doesn't even acknowledge your existence? To me, like I don't know.
Yeah, like to
Um,
me, if there's someone that has way too many people, they're not paying attention. Like, let's say the really big name that everybody is watching nowadays, Kai Cenat. I don't personally watch him, but my friends have told me, like, hey, you know what? This guy pays attention to most of his chat. He tries answering, tries hard not to ignore people. And I've gone to one of the streams just to see what they're talking about. I'm like, nah, he's got way too many people. And yeah, he
way too
actually
many.
tries acknowledging. Like he makes
It
it
must
like
be
worth
hard
a really
though.
watch.
Yeah, like it must be hard for Kai, but it's part of the job, so to speak.
Mhm.
You're an entertainer, and you have to make sure the audience is enjoying the entertainment. If you're just talking and you don't know the feedback, or if you don't know if, like, for example, you have a one-line joke or whatever, how do you know it hits if you don't pay attention to what's going on?
That's when you just
Like
yell at people, "Hey, one's in the chat if you liked it."
one's in the chat. Put the fingers up, everyone. One's in the chat. Everyone, I
Pretty
gotta
much,
start doing
because
that.
like let's say wrestling for example,
Yeah.
they're not they're they're not having to pay attention to a chat board. They get to feel it live, so they can hear the cheers, the boos, depending if you're a heel or you're a face. You know what you're trying to get a reaction from. If you're a heel, you're not actually an asshole. You could be, but you're not actually an asshole. But you're looking for everybody to mark
Yeah.
out trying to boo you, or they just like that you're a villain and they're just on your side. So
Yeah, exactly.
that's basically what you get from a live crowd versus what you get online, where you're staring at the screen, you're trying to play your game, and then you're getting jump scared, or you're trying to focus on the shooter, whatever game you might be playing,
Mhm.
and you keep turning to the chat. Like me, I'm playing a game, I keep turning to the chat. If it's a casual game that it's just, let's say, a Pokemon game, I'm just playing that. I can keep it on the same screen of my chat. So if anything dings, I'll be able to see it right away versus when I'm playing a
Exactly. Yeah.
shooter, I'm not staring at that same screen. I have two screens. I got my game on my right screen, and I got the camera with the chat on my left screen. So that's how I usually have my setup. So I'm not going to be paying attention fully, but I will backtrack and be like, okay, what did anybody say? Did they have a question? And then just reach back out to the community however I can, because I don't have the biggest community, but I do have loyal followers that they do come in and they start chatting, and I
Mhm.
try acknowledging as much as I can.
Yeah, and like I'm sure some people understand that you're dialed in. Say you're doing like a Call of Duty type game and you're dialed in. Um, Sometimes that just happens, but you know people are there. You hear the alerts, and you acknowledge it as you're playing, but you don't see the chat. That's still at least saying, "Hey, I know you're there." And it's simple things like that I think a lot of people miss, especially when they're trying to work their way up in the streaming world. Is yeah, just that tiny bit of acknowledgement goes a long way to the people coming in on your stream.
Exactly. And going on that, when I was still like pretty fresh, I was still green. I started joining different communities and seeing different people. Like, let's say one that I've told you, BMD Bud. I've
Mhm.
joined in his, and that's how I met his community. Real great community. Everybody hangs out with each other. We all play games. We would do DBD. We'd play Among Us, like different stuff. And he joined with this community, and like they made me feel part of it. Like, hey, Pina, come join with us. Even when I'm just in chat and I was already playing some games with them. Hey, come join. We're waiting for you. We're waiting for you. So I was already feeling accepted. The whole community always real nice, and smaller channels I feel it not just it feels like more homegrown. It feels like full respect that people actually acknowledge you, care for you, and talk to you. Like since I've been with BMD Bud, eventually just growing. He actually helped me become an affiliate. I've gone onto other channels that I keep meeting different people. I've met Two Dog, Day Night Duel, Skip Star Hopper, all these different people that it's just good vibes every single time. We build communities together that we all have shared viewership to where I know certain people are going to be in that chat and then they come with me, and then when I do raids, I always try going with communities that I know are good versus someone who's going
Yeah,
to ignore you, someone too big that's just going to not even care for you even being there. And next thing you know it, my community keeps growing like that. I've had people go into other people that I've met personally when I'm just rating. Like, let me see, this person looks cool. Okay, now that I know what he's about, let me actually rate him. So
yeah,
that's kind of how I do it. Like, I do a little bit of homework prior to the raid, and then those people that are under me now, I start finding them in those channels. I found this guy in Texas, and I've never met him before, but he's always been cool. My community's hanging out in his. When I go in, they're like, "Hey, Pino," I'm like, "Oh shit, you're here." So that's what happens. Just these communities keep
yeah.
growing and with good people.
I have like I'm not super as viewed, but I do have a connected network of people, and I'll refer to them like, "Hey, Dev," or I'll ask you like, "Hey, who do you guys think I should go to that maybe I don't know?" Because I try to only have around and talk to the ones I know that are good people, and that they won't steer me into a situation where I don't want to be there. You know,
Mhm.
like Sally and Devil leads me to all you guys, and it works out well that way because I know they're not going to lead me to a bad situation or a streamer that just won't give a fuck, which is also a problem as we were saying. So it's good that you met people like Skip. So when you met Skip, when did you guys start pitching the idea of like doing the Nutty podcast, which I have the shirt for here, which is great actually.
So the Nutty Podcast, it's not just what we started with. I've been pitching, you know what, like, hey, let's do something outside of gaming. Sometimes we're just talking, we're just hanging out, and we're in between games at times, and we're waiting for, let's say, Day Night Duo or Devil to hop on because we're waiting for our third or fourth. So we're just hanging out, talking, and sometimes like you feel the vibe, like we're just we're bullshitting, just talking about random shenanigans, and then I'm like, you know what? Maybe we can do a podcast because my wife listens to a bunch of podcasts where she's hearing people talk, and that's all they're doing. They're talking about different
Yep.
things. They're talking about, let's say, like murder podcasts or random, like ghost things, conspiracy theories. I'm like, okay. Like, I don't mind listening to these. I listen to a lot of Matt Pat with all his different channels. Now that he's retired, I'll listen to his new hosts for his channels. I'm like, you know what? Sometimes it's just talking versus just gaming, so I don't burn myself out with just gaming. Because I love gaming, but having to do the stream sometimes, if you do it too much or you're just trying to be stuck on a
Yeah.
game,
Yeah.
like sometimes it gets a little bit tiring. You know, you get burned out. It feels like a job.
I get a little like antsy or agitated a little bit at games sometimes too easily. So I just decided I'm not going to do as much gaming on this channel anymore because it's not entertaining to see me get legitimately upset. It's just not as fun. It's not as fun for me or fun for you guys to see that. So I was like, I gotta do something different, but I don't have to do much playing at all because I'm just not a very good gamer. So unless I can make it entertaining, I'm not gonna be able to perform to my standard and make it entertaining for you guys and still enjoy it myself. So I totally understand that too. And like uh podcasts, like yeah, that's how I consume. I don't watch weekly wrestling. I only watch the PLEs. I don't have time, so I just turn on like Wrestle Talk, and that's how I consume weekly wrestling because I just have not watched a single weekly show in forever.
Yeah,
Like
like me, I used to watch a lot of weekly shows. Every time I'd get home, I turn it on because I always showed up like right as it's starting, or like if I knew there was gonna be a big draw, I would like turn it on, have it on the way, like on the drive home. I just have it playing in the background, stuff like that. But then, like for quite a while, I've already been doing a Wrestle Talk every morning. There's already a Wrestle Talk by the time I'm driving home. I turn it on, hear what's going on. If it's something that I hear that I'm like, you know what, let me just at least watch the clip. I'll go watch the clip. But other than
yeah,
that, I
yeah,
intake everything from Wrestle Talk because Ollie Davis and then why am I forgetting names right now?
Luke
His
Owen.
main co Luke Owen. So Ollie Davis, Luke Owen. Those are the two main ones that I'll be hearing right there. I'm like, all right, you know what? These guys are pretty funny. They crack stupid jokes sometimes that
Yeah,
they
you
do
get
it purposely. Yeah,
sometimes you get Sullivan who's like just unhinged.
yeah. That's why like they're funny. So I'm like, you know what?
Yeah,
I listen to all this stuff. Why not just do something like this? So I kept
yeah.
pitching the idea to Skip for a while. I'm like, hey, I think I'm gonna start a podcast. I think I'm gonna start a podcast. So for a couple weeks, I was designing different things. I was coming up. I had already had the name, the Nutty Podcast, is what I want to call it, because it was just a play on from Peanut.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, you know what? Let me call it this. And then going from there, I just kept coming up with designs till finally something I liked. I'm like, all right, I'll stick with this. And then eventually, I started creating what the studio looks like, which is not, yeah, you can obviously tell it's not a real studio, but it
No,
took me a while
exactly. Yeah.
to create that CGI thing to where now you got our faces, we have our chairs, our mics, and everything. So it looks like a studio while not being a studio, since
Ha-
Skip's in the East Coast and I'm in the West Coast.
oh, okay. So Skip is on the other side of the country.
Correct.
Okay. So does he just is this so he's just up late?
Yeah, he's always up late. So I start at 9:30 p.m. Pacific time. That's
Yeah.
12:30 his time the next day.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I was like, that's why I confirmed to you. I'm like, oh fuck, I don't want to get this. I was
Yeah.
like, it's not 7:30. It's 7. Oh, his time. Fuck me. I was like, I have 3 hours to kill now, right? Yeah, like I had no idea. So you don't know like Skip in person, but you knew him through your streaming, basically.
Yes. So I met him through Day Night Duos, and then we were playing Lethal Company. So from there, we just started hanging out more. And then we're like, hey, you know what? Day Night is busy. You want to run a game? And then we just kept running games together. Eventually, I'm like, hey, Skip, you want to do a podcast? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. So I kept coming up with different designs. I'm like, all right, I finally got something. This is the date I want to launch it. And then I finally launched it. And I stopped being lazy on my website that I already had for a while, and finally
Okay.
made it public and put some gear on there. So it took some time. It wasn't just an overnight thing, but after I had that time, eventually Skip said yes, we'll do it. I came up with different designs, and just like the one you're wearing right now,
Yeah, this
I
is a
finally
cool one
got something that
actually.
I liked.
This is kind of almost
Yeah,
a
no,
Halloweeny themed one too.
yeah. I think I was going with the Bench Sevenfold, and
Yeah, right here. I get that.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
going with that and a uh, there was two more artists. There was Ozzy, Avenged Sevenfold, and there was one more. I can't remember which one I was trying to compare to, but I was trying different designs. So I finally got that one. And I'm like, you know what? This one looks good. Skip for some reason is dead, and I'm old. So I
why
was like,
why is Skip dead? Is he like older or is he more likely to die first?
he's technically younger, but that's just how the design ended up coming out.
Did you use like Chat GPT to help you with it again?
Yes, it was.
You know what though? Like the logo I have on my screen, it actually works out pretty good to put a guest in front of the logo. It's actually pretty good. Like, I was like, yeah, it's not bad at all. Actually. And the one you showed me with like me in the Joe Hendry shirt actually looks pretty good. Like,
Yeah, and ChatGPT, it does some wonders and it does some questionable stuff. Like for some reason, the one I showed you, like your body's going through the table, and that's
I
not
had
a
this.
wrestling term. That's just it looks like it's stabbing you.
No, like it looked like it was going through my gut, and I was like phasing through it like a sci-fi movie, and it looked really weird. I remember one time I was trying to do uh, a Tiffany Stratton thing, and for whatever reason, it just wouldn't do it. And I was like, "What? Is it because like her tits are too revealing? Like, why isn't it not working? It just keeps giving me bland regular girl. I gave you a picture of Tiffany. Why isn't it working?" So I was like, "Fuck it, I'm not using it for promos anymore."
It's working more with the new version of ChatGPT, which is
Okay.
ChatGPT 5, I think, and it's working a lot better because it's coming out with some nice designs, and some are just questionable still, but it's a lot less frequent.
So, do you think AI has a place in this world, or are you kind of still a skeptic of it? Like, how do you feel about it?
So the only reason, because I don't have time to commission someone to get something
Mm-hmm.
done for me. Just because I have to search for someone that I would like their designs. I have to search for whoever's making my stuff. Just all right, this is how I need it. These are the design work. Because then I feel I'd be too consumed with work, and then finally getting home to my wife, my kid, and then
Yeah.
eventually just being able to jump online. That's why I get on so late for my streaming, which I
Yeah.
try going for 9:30 p.m. Pacific Standard, because then I'll be on for an hour or two, and then that's how I try doing it. So then I wake up the next morning, go to work, because my kid's already asleep by then. So I'm like, okay, this is what I do. My wife is reading her books, and that she ended up jumping in on one of my podcasts recently where you were actually on it, where Skip's talking about book talk. Like it's certain
Oh,
things that
oh yeah, when I was crashing out of his book talking to chat.
yep.
Yeah,
So
he
yeah,
got me
like
going on. He got me
sometimes
going back though, so it's fair.
yeah, like sometimes we just talk about random stuff. We don't.
Yeah.
So to give you at least a little behind the curtain, like WWE. Um, we don't plan our podcast. We don't talk about it. We wing it.
So do you start with like a tagline? Because I saw that like the ET thing. You just start with a
That
tagline and just go from there.
that one just happened to be because I really wanted to cover that because I've I was watching a video where they brought up ET and it was an older video of MatPat. I was on my way home. No, I was
Okay.
actually on my way to work. I was on my way to work and it just happened to play in the background. I'm like, I remember this. So it triggered a memory. I'm like, I want to cover this. So I kept telling Skip, I'm like, hey, we're gonna be talking about ET. And
And he's like, "Fuck this."
no, so he didn't know anything about it. So I was like,
That's even
oh,
better.
I threw him a pitch about it. We're gonna talk about a game or no, how ET almost ruined an entire genre, and
It definitely
that's all I
did.
gave
Yeah.
him. He's like he's like what? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't even think I told him the movie. I just think I told him I was like how a movie almost ended a specific genre in life
It was.
that we live by, and also vague about
Yeah.
it. And I think I eventually said ET, and he's like, "What? Like, I'm interested. I'm interested." And he didn't do any research because he was busy. And
That's
then right
good.
before,
That's
like
good. That he
2 minutes before we went live, I was like, "Skip." So remember how I told you about ET, and I've been showing you this stuff. I've been posting like, "A ET is going to be on our episode." I gave him a super quick rundown, so he had no time to actually plan. And I wanted his blind reaction basically as much as I could, but I fed him very minimal information. I
That's
was like, so
good. That's good.
Skip. Um, quick rundown. ET got made into a game for Atari. It was the biggest flop ever, and
Hmm.
somehow, basically, parents didn't want consoles in houses because of this. Like they were already skeptical because
Like that's awesome.
arcades, yeah, because arcades were only in like liquors and bars, and that's how people knew gaming. Eventually,
Oh
consoles came to
right.
the house,
Yeah. Yeah.
and parents were against like, nah, it's the devil. There's something wrong with it. And Atari like came in. They were like, okay, Punk's cool and all this stuff, Snake. But uh, all of a sudden, this ET game came out. Like, oh hell yeah, ET! That movie was amazing. A lot of people hate it. Like
Yeah.
Skip hates it, but
I I thought it was okay. It's definitely a kids movie. Like
exactly. So a lot of people loved it. That's why I said it was. I told him a beloved movie,
yeah.
almost ruined gaming, and I
Well,
was like
because like
ET.
people forget it's the OG license for movies turned to video games.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and the fact that the genre still didn't really do well for 30 years after is actually fascinating. like, there's not very many games that translated as well for movies. It took very long time for them to actually like get their shit together with that.
Exactly, and that was happening a lot. So when the
Mhm.
Atari came out, not many people had it because of yeah, it's pricey. I get it. That was the futuristic stuff of the time. And
Yeah.
then the ET game didn't help, and eventually that game got thrown into a landfill for so many unsold copies. A legit landfill. This is not a joke. It's in New Mexico, the landfill,
Yep.
and a lot of people didn't know about it, but when you research it, there's an actual landfill. Yeah, they have other games in there, but the majority that's in there was the ET game.
I
And if you
remember Angry
see
Video Game
it,
Nerd. I remember AVGN was talking about it, how shitty the game is, and like how ET looks like a green dildo. like,
yeah, that thing was so bad. And there was other games in between from the point of origin when they said that gaming got revived. If you remember the NES, if you know the NES library, you would know how many games there actually is. So when I was young, we used to have the NES and the SNES, all that stuff. But eventually, when I got my Dreamcast, my brother bootlegged a bunch of the games because you were able to get these files that were very tiny. and put them on an actual disc, and we were able to boot them on the Dreamcast. So I had a bunch of my games. That's how I
That's
played a
cool.
lot of Game Boy Color games, or I played them on the computer. Because that's how I played my Pokemon games. Because I didn't have a Game Boy or Game
So
Boy
that
Color. I had.
so that was the early days of like modding games, like modding consoles, because that was a thing for like a long, long time.
Correct.
Yeah, because I remember us doing like my dad did it for my PlayStation, my first PlayStation. He got like he had to get like a mod chip. It was like a little blue mod chip that goes in there for burnt CDs. But you can only play burnt CDs. You can't do anything else.
Yeah,
I
and
remember that.
that's basically what happened. Like there was an easy solder that you can do on the Dreamcast, super easy. And then you get the boot disc. You load the boot
No.
disc. After you load it, you swap it in with the game you're gonna play, and there you go. You're playing all the games you want. And if you remember the NES library, there's over 1,000 games just on the
Mhm.
NES because there were so many studios just making random games.
Yeah, because
So
the video
uh,
game boom in the '80s and in the '80s was huge, and then it just tanked like suddenly one day. Like
1984 to be exact.
yeah, and it almost didn't
ET.
really recover. ET was definitely part of that.
So ET happened with Atari in 1984. I think it was, or 1985. I think it was 84.
Hmm.
And then a couple years later, eventually a little plumber came in the door, and people started enjoying all the series. It took some time because he came out on Donkey Kong. He was abusing an ape, and then he was also a
Right.
referee for sometimes. He was a referee for a boxing game,
Okay.
and you had like all these different things. Then eventually, when Super Mario Brothers came out, that's when people started getting faith because like, oh, you know what, this is a family thing, and families would play Super Mario and do all these things together. That eventually that came full swing and kept gaming alive in the household. Because if not,
Yeah,
it
like
would have just been a bar thing or a liquor thing.
yeah, yeah. Because like I'm not the biggest Mario, nor am I the biggest Nintendo player, but I can't deny the influence of Mario. Mario, if it wasn't for like that character, gaming would not exist at this point the way we know it today. Like you said, it would be like a bar game. It would probably be a bunch of random, weird, shitty arcade games that no one wants to play. Like in bars today, where it's just like hunting, like just be shit like that, and that'd be all it would be, and it wouldn't be like as good.
Yeah, and a lot of stuff like it changed to where now you start getting all these games in the household, and yeah, some get more violent because they're not all family friendly, but it's because people have their expression. They want to create what they want, but it
Mhm.
takes some time to create it, and then eventually, when it's out, people are either gonna like it, they're gonna love it, they're gonna hate it. So there's different emotions that go through people. Like I don't like every single game in the world. Yeah, I'm an avid gamer, but I have my style of games that I like. Yeah, I'm all around the board. I'm not just a I can only play Call of Duty. I can only play this. I can only play a sports game. No, like I'm all around. Some of
Me
my
too.
favorite games are like Zelda. Zelda is one of my biggest games that
Okay.
I
Okay.
love. But I also play like Call of Duty, Gears of
Mhm.
War, which I love Gears of War. Destiny, a lot of people liked it, a lot of people hated it.
It's a
Halo,
very divisive
Un-
game. Like
Uncharted.
Uncharted. Yeah.
Uncharted, I love that game. Anything by Naughty Dog, great games.
Yes.
Uh,
Naughty Dog is great. Love Naughty Dog.
yep,
Oh
amazing, amazing studio. These
yeah,
guys
they're a great
produce
studio.
some games that are just they're amazing, and even the commercials for those Uncharted games were hilarious. The dumb blonde girlfriend that's like, "Oh, is that a movie? Oh, that's a cool movie," and he's just playing the game. Those things are
Yeah, like
awesome.
they've been around forever. They started with Crash Bandicoot and then they just exploded. Like, and I loved Crash Bandicoot. I was more Crash Bandicoot over Mario myself because I was a kid of the '90s, so I Mario was already kind of not as popular by then.
Yeah, like me, I was more on since I was more on the Dreamcast because that was my personal system versus my
Mhm.
brothers that had the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, the 64. I would play with them, but my personal console that was mine because my other brother also had the Genesis. I had the Dreamcast, so
Okay.
I had two Dreamcasts to be exact. So we got we got them both modded, but I would be playing a lot of Sonic Adventure. Sonic Adventure was my forte. Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. That's why I did them on stream this past year. Where these things that's my childhood right there. Anything Dreamcast related, I love it.
So
People
like that
hated
was
it or
that was
didn't
your
have it.
so that was your entrance to gaming was the Dreamcast.
Not my entrance, but when I had basically alone time, yeah, I play with my brothers. Sometimes they'd come
Okay.
join me, but when it was my personal time that I didn't just have to play with them because they're, hey, come join me on Mario Kart, come join me on playing Contra on the Super Nintendo, come join me playing Super Mario Bros. No, like I had my own time because I had House of the Dead 2, I had House of the Dead the first one, Sonic Adventure 2. Power Stone, which a lot of people don't even know about, but that was an amazing game. That one basically from that game, I think it got a lot of stuff that they still use to the modern day today, where you have not just a side scroller fighting game. You have the one where you're walking around the map, you're fighting. So you get a lot of different feels from these games, and just that joy in gaming. Every time I get home, I would watch a show like on WB Kids or something. It'd be like
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon, Digimon, whatever it might be. Be going watching some anime at night, and then after that, jump on my games or games in between. Be playing Crazy Taxi, Sonic, everything. And
Yeah,
eventually, once I started,
sorry, you finish. You finish.
I was gonna say, so eventually when I started making like money for myself, every single time I always spoiled myself. I need to get the newest consoles and every single one.
Mm, yeah, yeah. Like my thing was like whenever I did make money, I would just rent the games on Blockbuster for my for my systems, and that's what I would do every weekend. Was just binge that, do the whole game, and then take it back. Because back then it was like you only needed 20 hours to finish, maybe not even 10, maybe.
Yeah,
Like and you just
yeah. I
take it back.
remember I used to play a lot of games like that.
Like the only ones that would take longer sometimes are Pokemon, but every all the other ones you could just get done within like 2 days. Like
Yeah, like I remember I used to get a lot of games too, just from Blockbuster. There was certain games that we didn't feel like buying. We used to go to like EB Games, which a lot of people now know as like GameStop.
yes,
Um, like some of these we used to try getting. If not, yeah, we'd go the Blockbuster route if it was a game that we knew we weren't going to be like hooked on. But if it was, let's say, WWE No Mercy,
oh
WWF No Mercy,
yeah,
WWF WrestleMania 2000, Attitude. What are the games that we buy? The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. We had all these different games that we would enjoy, so we know we're not gonna turn this in. We're gonna keep playing them. But the ones that we knew we weren't gonna have much play out of, we're like, all right, let's go rent it real quick.
So what would you do if like you didn't have gaming anymore? Like if it just suddenly disappeared, what would you do as an extra curricular for yourself?
Like today,
Yeah, like if suddenly you couldn't just game anymore, what is there anything else that you would just get into doing, or you would just be like, well, fuck this, I'm done now.
um, I'd probably just be stuck just binge watching TV all the time because what I used to do back before when my oldest was really little and I wasn't with the mom, I was living single life. I was with my buddies, always just not even at home. If we weren't gaming, we were out by the beach. We would go to the mall. We do whatever because I didn't feel like staying home. I wasn't a homebody. I always wanted to be out, even though like I was just spending money left and right. I didn't really care, and I used to spend for my friends. I'm like, here, I got you. Don't worry about it. Let's go eat. Let's go do this. I didn't want to be
Mhm.
home, so that was my whole go-to. Now that I have my youngest as well, with my wife, we just spend some time if we're not here trying to game. If she's not in her book, we try going out as much as we can. If not, just stay home
That's
and
good.
binge watch TV.
So like if it wasn't there, it's like it would be sad, but at least you have someone to share your time with.
Unfortunately, no, just no, just yeah, like I still have all that time and everything, but Yeah,
Yeah.
just that's why like gaming just it's always been a part of me. No matter where I'm at, gaming's always got to be there. And I used to be really into movies, but not as much recently. But that was my whole forte. It's just I had a game. It takes my mind away from what's going on in the world, where things can be bad, long day at work, stressful week, and just
Mhm.
gaming's just my getaway.
That's good. It's the way it is for me too. That's why for me I stopped streaming. It was like it wasn't. It turned into like work and an obligation, and I wasn't enjoying it as much. So I was like, I'm gonna stop doing it. Same with like watching wrestling all the time. I took the summer off and went on vacation, stuff like that. I was like, I'm watching it at this point as an obligation because I am tired of all of it. So I had to stop for a while because of it too. So like luckily I have other things I enjoy doing because I don't know what else I would do with myself because I don't have a wife and kids, so I have to like invent things to enjoy. That's why I started writing and all that stuff too. And it's good to have more than that, but I'll always have it there to fall back on when I need to do something else.
That's always good. Yeah, it's just always something to fall on because sometimes I'll take like a week off. Like this whole week, I haven't really streamed, which I wanted to, but there's been so much that I'm just like, you know what,
Mhm.
not today, not today. I'm going home, like headaches, long work week. I'm like, you know what, I'll be fine, not this week. And then I'll stream like on a Sunday or something. Like this past Sunday for the Nutty Podcast. So it was episode 8, and I thought it was episode 9, but I was so out of it because I had a huge migraine. And all day I was like, yeah, episode 9, episode 9, and that was the whole day. I had a huge migraine. Even Skip, when we did the podcast, he actually had just woken up, and he jumped on the podcast, but he was out of it too. He had a headache throughout the day, but I was just trying to wing through it. And that's usually how we do the Naughty podcast. It's just we always talk about anything
Just
random.
wing it.
Sometimes we feed off of each other on any
Yeah.
random subject. Or sometimes we'll take like 2 minutes right before, like while we're in chat, like, hey, you got anything you want to touch upon today? Oh yeah, let's talk about this. All right, cool. Like we were gonna talk about there was a certain thing we were gonna talk about on the last one, and we didn't get to do it. And
Okay.
then
Do you do it next time
um
then?
yeah, we did it on the following one.
Okay.
But that's when Skip's like, hey, let's talk about like books. I came up with this quiz I want to like do, so we can talk about like books because I know you're
Okay.
not like fully invested in them, but since I am, I'm like, of course, like he's my co-host, so I'm not just gonna be like, nah. I'm open to it because it takes me out of my comfort zone. It's something different, so you might get a good
Yeah, it's
reaction
good.
out of me.
Yeah. And apparently you got reaction out of the chat. So it's
Yeah, that's what happens. Like you don't know what you're gonna get in the Nutty podcast. It's always random. Sometimes we just go on and we go on a random tangent. We just get lost in the conversation, and it's not anything that we're like, oh, we have to hit all these touch points. We got to do this. When I
no,
first
because
came
you
up
always
with
get
the
back
Nutty
to it.
podcast, yeah, when I came up with the Nutty podcast, I came up with a huge list of things we can talk about, and
Hmm.
then we didn't even touch the list. We still haven't touched the list. We're gonna be on episode 9, not this Sunday, but next Sunday.
Yeah, like
And
I have this where it's like I'm just gonna feel the vibe of the person that's on. I'm not gonna plan much this time around. I'm just gonna go with it, and if it works, works. If it doesn't, that's just the way it is. But I feel like the people that I know, it'll be fun, and they're all completely different. Like there's you, and then there's my author friend, and then I have my friend Jeff, who's more of a tech savvy person. So I feel like I have enough variety of people to keep an engrossing conversation. So that's why I just do. I'll just do the same thing as you. I just kind of wing it into it and hope for the best because it just works out better when I do it that way.
yeah, and that's the fun out of it because some people plan it too much and then they
Yeah,
overthink it. And I was thinking like, all right, we'll touch on these, and then if we run out of stuff to talk about, we'll talk about this. So I was coming out for a full layout for episode 1, and we didn't even touch upon it. And I had like
yeah,
different things. All right, we'll talk about this, but we'll just stay away from politics. We'll stay away from religion,
yep.
but we'll do all this. But we didn't even touch on those things, and we went to a random tangent, and just people kept watching, and I was like, you know what, all right, let's just keep winging it then, I guess. And
Because you
sometimes
can
I'll be
always
like,
circle
hey,
back to it if you really need to. You can just circle back to it, right? So
exactly. And that's the thing, like sometimes I try keeping us on subject, Like on this last one, sometimes I gotta keep like steering it back. Like, all right, like this, we went off on this, but then I wanted to finish that touch point, and then we wrap back around to it. I'm like, all right, cool. This is what we were talking
Mhm.
about, and this is what happened from it. And now we went to this other tangent that's still kind of related, but I always want to get back to that same touch point. Why this episode was this, and that's what I've done. And even like, let's say when I do, "Am I the asshole?" from Reddit, like I've
Mhm.
done that twice already, and people seem to get a kick out of it because you get different feels from it. And I try getting the chat's opinion. Like, let's say when
Yeah.
I'm doing
Yeah.
those, like, am I the asshole? People feed into it because
Yeah.
I don't proofread the stories. I'm just like, all right, is it too long? Nah, you know what? It's a good paragraph. So I'll start reading it, and then I'm like, all right, let's do this. And then Skip's like, hey, why don't we give our opinion of what we think per the title, like midstream? It wasn't even something we talked about. Midstream, he's like, hey, why don't we talk about what we think with the title, and then move up from there what we think at the very end. So I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, let's do that. So midstream, we took a quick left turn. All right, this is what I think per the title. Because there was one where it says, "Am I the asshole if I say I don't care if my half sibling dies?" I'm like, damn.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah. So I was like,
Oh.
wow, that is dark. And the thing that's fucked is that every one I was reading that day, I had something that I could relate to. Like I have an older daughter. She's 13 now,
Mhm.
and I have my youngest one that's 2, but they're from 2 different moms.
Right.
So I'm like, damn, half sibling, this and that. I
That's
don't care.
fucked
I'm like,
up. The
that.
13-year-old
I
just
was
looks at
like,
the
that's
2-year-old
fucked
like,
up. And this happened to be the one I just read and had just gotten posted that day. I'm like, okay, let's just keep reading. I'm like, fuck, like I think that's fucked up
what?
because that's your blood. And then when I start reading into it, I'm like, you know what? Fuck that kid. And it wasn't the kid's fault. It was the parents' fault because
Yeah,
of
yeah,
what
exactly.
occurred. So I'm like, yeah, fuck that shit. Like, not fuck the actual kid, but like, fuck the parents for trying to put that on their kid, and it spun us to a different tangent, and people were jumping in on that. Yeah, fuck that. Like, that person is the asshole, not the one who made the story. Because they're
Mhm.
like, am I the asshole? No, it's actually you're in the right. Your other parents the asshole, and what you said makes complete sense. So a lot of people were feeding
Yeah.
off that, and they were giving us their opinion. As I read it, they're like, "Yeah, never mind. We changed our vote with you."
That's how I go. I did this a couple times too, where it's like there was one of I man, I can't remember what it was, but it was like basically she left uh the groom for the best man because she never actually loved the groom, and then it's like she sounds like a fucking bitch, and then she gets into the whole story, and you're like, no, actually, okay, it makes sense because like it was more of a convenience thing where the groom was also just doing it was a marriage of convenience because they're both like from well off families and they're just trying to come together, but the best man is not from a wealthy family or whatever.
Hmm.
And I was like,
Yeah,
more and more you read it, I'm like, oh, I get it now, but it makes you come off as like such a douche immediately. Like, oh, I left you for the best man. Like what? But then you hear more about it, like, okay, I understand the context, but you probably should have gone about it a different way. Like,
yeah, but sometimes I feel like the way they title it, they do it for clickbait. Because some of these, yeah, some of these they were interesting because I was just clicking on everything. I'm like, you know what? Since I hold stock in Reddit, I'm like, I'll start doing these reads. Like, there was one that it says, "Am I the asshole for not going to my daughter's wedding and taking a motorcycle trip instead?" So I was
what?
like, yeah. So I was like, wow, that is fucked
I
up.
feel
Of
like
course, that's. Huh?
I feel like I couldn't do it. I feel like it was my kid. I still couldn't do it. Even if she's like a total bitch, I don't think I could do it.
No. So what happened was because we were like, yeah, you are the bitch. How the fuck you not gonna go to your kid's thing?
Yeah.
And what happened was that she was going to be a part of the original wedding, and all of a sudden she puts in all this money. She gives her half for like their side of the family, and the
Okay.
groom was gonna give their half. And then all of a sudden they call off the wedding, and they had already pre-booked this because they were like, "Hey, we're gonna have a local one. We're gonna do this," and then all of a sudden it's gonna be a destination wedding. Then the wife's like, "You know,
Okay.
never mind." Like the daughter's like, "No, never mind. We're calling off the wedding." And since she already prepaid for this and had all these rooms
Hmm.
booked and
Hmm.
everything, they couldn't cancel. They're like, ah, fuck it, let's take the trip. They took a girls' night or a
I
girls'
get it.
trip and
Okay.
everything. Came back. All of a sudden, the wife eventually, or the girl eventually goes back to her man. They like, hey, yeah, the wedding's back on, but not right away. But hey, the wedding's back on, and she had already planned this whole trip with her friends that she hasn't done this trip for a long time. She's like, yeah, I'm gonna go with my friends. All of a sudden, the girl's like, yeah, we're gonna get married, and it's gonna be this time. Blah blah. Can you give us more money and can you come? And she had spent 25,000 at this point just for
Oh
the
my
first wedding.
god.
25,000.
I who?
So
Oh god.
it was crazy. So I was like, oh hell no, it's getting worse. So she's like, yeah. So I told my daughter, like, can you please like change the date because I already set up this thing,
Hmm.
and I had already promised all my friends we haven't met up in so long. I need to do this. And she's like, I already paid for all my stuff, and then I already had paid for your original wedding. Like, no, no, you have to. If not, you don't love me.
What?
So,
No,
so she's just
no.
like, hmm?
That's not how
Yeah,
that
so she's like,
works.
nah. She's like, nah, fuck this. You know what? I'm not going to the wedding. I already went. I already tried helping for the first one and tried going here first, and you fucked
Yeah.
up. So that was the whole story. So that's what she's like. Am I the asshole for taking the motorcycle trip?
No, because you already paid for it. It would be different if you canceled already. You're like, fuck it, I'm taking that money and going on a trip instead. But no, you've already spent it, so you might as well just go. Like,
Yeah, and that was the whole thing. So we start off like, yeah, of course you're gonna be the fucking asshole. Then the more we read it, all of a sudden, oh, you know what? This is completely doing a 180 over here.
because she
No,
thought her
the
daughter broke
daughter's a
up with the
bitch.
guy. So it's like,
Yeah,
okay, I'm moving on then. I already paid for the trip. I'm going to go on a vacation instead. Like,
yeah, and she took her daughter to that destination, and but then when they came back, she wanted to take a trip with her actual friends. Like, hey, yeah, let's go on that motorcycle trip. We've been planning for so long. We're finally taking the chance. And daughter's like, nope, you got to come to my wedding and pay more. Like, fuck out of here.
I just paid for a trip that I didn't think I was in. I thought you were already get married once. I already spent all this money on it. Like, that's crazy. Like, you said you're married. Did you spend 25K on a wedding?
Fuck no.
Like I don't understand people that spend their entire life savings for one night, and it's like and you're gonna be stressed out when you could just have fun.
Yeah, like you got cheap viewers.
Get cheap viewers. Well, cheap viewers is like cheap women. Probably not a good idea. Like
Yeah,
I
like
just don't. I just never understood the expensive wedding thing personally. Like, but I've never been married, so I don't know. So
yeah, no, I think it's just way too much, especially for one night. Like, come on. But some people just go all out, and that's why like, I keep trying different things. We've done book talk on the podcast. We've done two Am I the Assholes? We've tried talking about like terrible movie adaptations, and then good adaptations from gaming. Because sometimes some games end up being
mhm.
flops in the movie theater, or
Vice versa.
sometimes it just
Yeah,
hits. Like
yeah.
you'll get the Super Mario movie, which I think was very terrible. It had nothing to do with the actual game. Skip loves it, but then you
I
got
thought it was
the
good, but
yeah, like
it
me.
wasn't
I
really.
personally
It's
the
not
only
really
thing I
based on the
remember.
game. It's not based on the game, really.
That's why. But what I'm saying is based on the game that like a terrible adaptation.
Yeah, like
But
it's fine. It's
then you
fine
get
as
the
a
new
Mario
one.
thing because it pays homage to like all these different things, like the Rainbow Road and stuff like that. It's fine for that, but yeah.
Yeah, but then the new one with Chris Pratt is much closer to what the Super Mario games are versus the original, where somehow
Oh
Bowser's
God,
a
yeah.
guy like a mob boss, and the Mario Brothers are the same ones that we're using for the show. Like
Yeah.
it's weird.
Yeah, the Chris Pratt one was at least paid attention to, like I said, the elements of the games. Like they made references to the original game with Kong, and then they made references to the racing. Like all the games were touched on and talked about in that movie, and they even touched on the fact that he's a plumber. Like,
Yeah, like that's the movie that I liked for Mario.
yeah,
But the
yeah.
first one, I'm like, come on. And
No,
then
the first one's
they just
terrible.
announced Mario Galaxy.
See, that'll be
So,
fun. That could be fun.
and they just announced it for 2026.
And they talked about doing one with the Luigi's Mansion with just Charlie Day. So,
Okay.
which I think could be fun too, because I felt like he wasn't used as much in the original, but which is kind of like the original games anyway, where he was just
Yeah.
kind of like punked out. I also like the fact they made Peach as like more of a badass than a damsel in distress.
Yeah, and that's pretty good. And that's the thing. They're trying to show more women empowerment, so they keep trying different things. But that one hit a lot better than the original.
Yeah,
But I'm telling you, Skip did love it. But hey, there's some people like it, some people hate it. That's why they make different adaptations that sometimes are good, sometimes they're bad. That's the reason why they never made a Legend of Zelda game after that Super Mario debacle. Like
I like Detective
sometimes they
Pikachu.
hit,
Like that
sometimes
was
they don't.
good. Like, Detective
Yeah, that
Pikachu,
one is good.
that was just based off the characters, but Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu was brilliant. Like,
Hey, you just put the right person in there, especially if you're trying to be funny. Like you're gonna get that personality out of them.
and they
And
looked
like
realistic,
Charlie
man.
Day's hilarious. Oh, I know
Yeah.
that one's good.
Oh, or there's something like the casting is always key too, because the Uncharted one had potential. Like you could have replaced Indiana Jones with the Uncharted series, but you had to make it Mark Wahlberg.
That was not a good Sully in my opinion.
No, he's 30 years too young for Sully. Like looking
Yeah,
anyway. And
like
then
even
Tom
that like
Holland looked nothing like Nathan Drake.
yeah, you look nothing like it, but you still had like that much younger feel. But they
Yeah,
did go with a wrong depiction. If you're starting up, you started at game three instead of the first game.
right.
Like you jumped so much, you didn't get that character build that you get from playing the actual series. There's a lot of game series that I love playing because of the character build that you get during the campaign.
Like you
In
don't get
Uncharted,
Sully's betrayal if you just skip ahead.
exactly, and then you don't get that betrayal, and then you don't see why he betrayed him,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't get the story that he was actually protecting because the guy would have shot and killed Drake. So you don't get any of this feel that you would get from that emotion just going from the
Right.
games that they started at game one and then just built up, or even started from his childhood eventually to where he moved up. A lot of different movies that they jump too forward in time versus just
Mm-hmm.
going from the source material
Mm-hmm.
and start early. Like there's there's a couple different movie adaptations that they or actually no, let's talk about another game. So Gears of War. I
Okay.
don't know if you've ever played it, but Gears of War
Yes.
is one of my favorite titles that with the story build. I'm replaying part one, and I already know what happens through the game series. And
Mm-hmm.
one through three, it takes you through an emotional ride because you build a relationship with Marcus Phoenix and Dominic Santos, or is it Santos? I'm already making up
Something
names
like
probably.
that. Yeah, something like that. It's Dominic anyway.
Yeah, so uh, when you're building your relationship with these two, you're already seeing, hey, what they're going through. Dominic is
Right.
going for searching for his wife, and
Yeah.
Marcus is just trying to. He just got pulled out of jail because he was marked as insubordinate, and they put him as a traitor, even though he
Yeah.
wasn't.
Yeah.
But you eventually get that backside in a future game, but you're seeing these guys develop into this relationship, how friendly they are with each other. He's trying to get his wife. He's trying to help them. They're trying to take down the locust. Part two, they're underground, still trying to find his wife. Eventually, finds his wife. She ends up being a DIA, and then
Yes. Yes.
yeah, so you get all that, and eventually in the third game, you go from happy trying to find his wife to trying to find his wife sad, and the third one he's an emotional wreck,
Yeah,
and
you could
he's
make
not.
a whole great series off that. Even if you did it like, I could see that one being a good TV series too, because you could build that up for like multiple seasons that way.
Yeah, and the thing is, he's not player one, which that's what people get
No.
used to player one. But
Mhm.
he's part of the whole main story. Marcus Phoenix and Dominic, they're part of the whole main thing. So you're with a partner the whole time. You're not by yourself, which you don't just build on the one character, you build on the tag team duo. So when you're seeing Dominic go through all this, he's going through the state of depression into the game three, into game three, and eventually you see him take one for the team and makes a huge sacrifice. And he
Yeah,
knew at that moment he was gonna be reunited with his wife in death. So he's like, "I'm doing this for you guys, keeping you safe, but I'm coming back to you." And he even says at the end, like, "I'm coming, Maria," because he already knows that
exactly.
he's not gonna make it.
It was a great climax to that character's epic story. Like it was really well done.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you build with these characters and you
Yeah,
ride that
yeah.
emotional ride. But sometimes these movie depictions, sometimes they kill all that source material that you get so used to as a gamer.
Yes,
Like, let's say
100%.
who read books, people who read books, they build this like repertoire of this character, and next you know, when it gets translated into a movie, it's not the same for them. Same thing for me with the game going to a movie. Sometimes they're not built the same. So I get
Like,
it where a
how would
reader
you
builds the
feel?
idea.
How would you cast Marcus and Dominic? Like, who would you? I've seen theories that like Batista could be Marcus, which I think could be fun to do.
Yeah, they had him in that whole outfit, which he was a DLC on the game.
Yeah,
I don't personally see him as
he might be too old
Marcus.
now.
No, well, even that Marcus was already kind of older
Okay,
in
okay,
the games, but he got much more older in 4 and 5. But
okay.
even 1 through 3, he was a good age. But I don't see him as that type of character. Yes, he's become more of an action star that he'd be able to do certain roles, but I feel they need to bring out someone much newer that just
Mhm.
hasn't really touched Hollywood that much, but has hidden potential that he can actually pull this. But it has to be a serious, like a serious thing that you can actually see him as a war hero. And
Who do you think could do it?
that's the thing. I don't think there's anybody that I can be like, you know what, that's the guy right
Yeah,
now. Like, I
you'd be
don't
like
see
James
anybody.
Gunn and like think this through with like I'm gonna do a new Superman, but I want to go younger because we wait do a long series, and Henry Cavill might not be at the age we want him to later on, which made sense at the time.
Yeah, and then for Dominic's story, like I can't see anybody like hitting that role either. There's certain people that might fit
Mhm.
the look, but not fit the emotion that they can build from what they
That's
portray.
key. Yeah, that's key part of it. How about like if you were to do Zelda? I've seen theories of like Zelda casting. How would you do a live action version or a Mario version of like how they do the current one of that series? Like, how would you depict that one?
Um, so it's hard because there was an original Legend of Zelda show, and
Oh
that was
yeah,
more of a comedy base
yes.
versus the serious like emotion you can get out of a Zelda game, which yeah, it's more cartoony,
Excuse
but
me, princess.
exactly. You get all of
God.
that out of Zelda, but when you play the games, you start seeing like this character going through all these trials and eventually going through this emotional ride, like Twilight Princess.
Mhm.
You start seeing a much different feel out of it. You start seeing different games like Majora's Mask. You get different feels from each different Zelda game. I'm not the hugest fan of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the
Okay.
Kingdom, I think, got too cartoony, in my
Okay.
opinion. It's not a bad game per se. It's just to me, it's like Zelda with a Fortnite skin on it.
Fair enough.
So
It, do you think there's any like video game depictions that may or may not be coming out, or they might be thinking about that you think might be a bad idea or probably won't work out the way they want it to?
As it continuing as a game or going to a movie?
Like if you were like of all the things that you've heard of like people wanting to put games into movies, do you think any of them you think wouldn't work? Like I don't know if Zelda would work because of the different depths that they have to do that.
So Zelda, there's a certain thing that I was actually looking forward to that they made a long time ago, but it happened to be a joke. So
Oh,
I don't know if you ever saw this, was an April Fool's joke many years ago. It was a Legend of Zelda trailer that looked really good, and for some reason it was an actual April Fool's joke when it got released, and it actually looked really good. If you ever get a chance to look that up,
okay. I'll look it up.
Legend,
Yeah.
yeah, Legend of Zelda April Fools, and you'll see a whole thing that actually looked like it would have been a good movie. They were basically doing Ocarina of Time, like that whole
Okay.
depiction. And actually, I was like, wow, this actually looks good.
So you think it could work then if it's done right?
If they stick to the source material and not just make it Hollywood, I think it could be
Yeah.
done right.
Okay.
Like there's
That's
some actors that go through a phase where they go from
mhm.
younger to like this adulthood. I feel um like right now just the first person that just came to mind, which isn't like a huge movie star, but for some reason this guy came to mind because I just saw a live action of How to Train a Dragon, and that one I happened to see because I got free tickets to
Yes.
the worldwide
I
debut.
saw that one too.
So I saw the worldwide debut before it came out
Okay.
to the public, and that one just happened to be near me, so I got free tickets. And when I took my daughter for it, that actor that played the main character,
Mhm.
Hiccup, I feel like he might have like that weirdness that it'll work for Link, because Link is a quiet character per the games
He
because
is,
he doesn't
yeah.
talk.
And he's super young because like he was the youngest actor in that movie by far because he looked super young too. Um, because the actress that like the I forgot her name, but like the main heroine or whatever, she's actually like 17, 18, and he's like a bit younger than her. But
Mhm.
it worked for them really well. Like he did a really good job at Hiccup, I thought, and the live action was really well done for that.
And the thing is, my daughter just hates the live action adaptations. So she's like, nah, nah, let's not see them. And then I just happened to get free movie tickets. And I was like, it's a worldwide debut. And she's like, you know what, let's do it. Because I've never done one of those. I'm like, me either. So let's go. It's something different. And she really liked it. It was a whole different feel. They had this huge setup for this thing. We had the actual actors come say hi to us right before
That's
they
cool.
started playing it. So it was such a great feel because it was a worldwide debut, and it was here in LA in California, and I was like,
Mhm.
wow, this is different. I've never done something
That's
like this,
awesome.
and this is great. So we had that, and it already hyped me up for the movie, and we had some of the actors actually sitting with us in the crowd. So we're just watching it, real good feels out of it. And I was like, you know what? Some of these live actions, like, yeah, they might be good, but it takes time to actually get like the right characters. And I think he was a pretty good character for that. That certain feel that he did, it might
He'd be
even
good
work
for
for
Link,
Link.
100%. Yeah, I could see it now that you mentioned it's like that. He's also the right age for Link. If you do a longer series, he could age into it, hopefully pretty gracefully into it.
Exactly.
Like,
And like certain people might fit certain roles. It's not like I'm gonna say, all right, Gerard Butler, even though like he's been voicing Hiccup's dad for the longest.
and then he did the
He's
live
all
action.
And he happened to be the live action dad as well, even though it's been his voice the entire time.
Yeah,
Like I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, he's gonna be Marcus Phoenix. Like I don't know if he can fit that role, even though yeah, he's done Gladiators, done all this
he
stuff back in
probably
the day.
could though. I think he's a good one for that actually.
He might, but then who would you throw as Dominic?
Yeah, it has to be the chemistry has to fit. Like you're not gonna put oh let's put Pedro Pascal. He's in everything else. Here you go. No, like it has to be someone that actually fits the chemistry of the role. Like
Like if you had the choice, who would you put as the duo for Gears of War on a live action?
That's the thing. Like I'm not entirely sure how I would play that one out because like you said, it has to be two people that have chemistry too. Because the idea is that you want it for more than one movie. So who could play the emotional gravitas necessary to play the roles together, but also develop the story separately, and they still have that chemistry? Because we've seen duos just fizzle out. That's what killed the original Spider-Man movies. Is that they actually ended up hating each other by the end of it, and you could tell by the third movie that they could not stand each other, and it ruins the chemistry of that. So you have to find people that are willing to stick together the whole time, and it's hard to do that for more than like a season or more than a movie or two. It's really hard to pull that off. I think people underestimate the chemistry of actors.
Yeah, like sometimes some people can mix for a while and then they just they
So they
burn
don't work
out
anymore.
and
Like
yeah, it doesn't work anymore.
all the guys in the
Like
MCU, they broke apart because like we're just done. Like you could tell by the end they were kind of just burnt. Like
yeah, it's just certain people that are gonna fit, certain people that just won't, and it's not like let's say Deadpool, like getting that feel from Ryan Reynolds and uh forgetting his name right now, Wolverine,
Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman. Like you get that cool feel from them. It took them a long time to get to it, but like you get that good chemistry they had in the movie. It's not like we're gonna put them as Hugh Jackman as Marcus, then you're gonna have Ryan Reynolds as Dominic for some reason.
No,
Like
because I don't think Ryan Reynolds has the same emotional connection as he that will work for that. I don't think it's that kind of. I don't think it's his style.
exactly, and he's more of a comedy guy. It's not gonna work.
No,
Yeah. Like there's certain things that you just need to build that emotion from that character. You need to be able to tell a story with it. You can't just because they're top name actors. That's it. No, you got to have that emotional feel from it.
it's probably two actors we've never really like thought of before, like you said. Because in order to do that, you got to start from scratch. But at the same time, one of the actors is probably going to be a bigger name to draw people to even go there. So it's like, who would that? Who's a draw enough to make you go see? I can believe that. That's the whole reason why they try to do Mark Wahlberg as Sully, because like we need to have a big name guy. Mark Wahlberg, let's put him in. But by then, he was already fizzling out because Transformers with him in it didn't do as well as they wanted to with him in it. He was already his star power was already kind of waning at that point. So it was also timing too on that particular actor.
Yeah, because there's certain ones like let's say, have you ever seen the movie End of Watch?
No.
So there's a movie called End of Watch, which has these two actors together. The one actor that happens to be the Hispanic is Michael Pena, and he comes out in different roles where he can be a very funny guy, but
Mm-hmm.
he can also be serious. So Michael Pena's come out in a lot of different movies, but he's also with let me see his name. Cast. I know his face. It's just Jake Gyllenhaal. So it's Jake
Okay.
Gyllenhaal and Michael
Okay.
Pena. These two actors together on End of Watch, they mixed so well. And this is basically a depiction of LAPD, which they actually trained with LAPD officers on how to, what kind of emotion they go through, what they do
Mm-hmm.
on a daily basis, how they answer their radios, like how they wear their gear. So they took everything they could. So they were method acting and just grabbing everything, like grasping everything they do on a daily basis, and they brought this to the movies. So the way they talked on the radio, everything down to the way they wrote their reports, everything was depicted so right. And then the mixture of these two characters together made for
Okay.
such a great movie. So it's showing the depiction of LAPD while they're going through their day by day basis in a rigid area where it's gang violence and everything. So they had such a good chemistry that even them, I can see maybe if Jake Gyllenhaal for some reason wants to go as Marcus Phoenix and Michael Pena as Dom, I may believe
You
it
know
because they're a
what?
good
Yeah.
duo.
Maybe. Yeah, because Michael Pena. Yeah, because he's the one he did Ant Man as like a more of the comedy guy of the group. But
Yeah,
yeah, he's been on a lot
and
of serious
Dominic will
roles.
sometimes crack a little jokes like every once in a while, but he'll keep his seriousness. And Michael Pena's done like I'm pretty sure he's done. Um, I think he was in Narcos or something. He was like in different shows that a lot of people believed him as different actors, where he's more
That's why
serious.
that's why I appreciate a Walton Goggins who just slips into anything. He's so brilliant, and he's so underrated. But like he's done the serious roles like in The Shield, to more of the comedy stuff like in Django Unchained, to now he's like a ghoul on Fallout. Like he's just a super adaptable guy, and it's hard to find. That's the other thing too. You have to find someone's like adaptable to situations because in that game they have those one liners every once in a while that are kind of they come off pretty funny, then they get right to a serious part, or they have to go into a fight scene. Like that actor has to be able to do balance all those kind of things in an action film, and it's not easy to do.
And that's why a lot of movie depictions just haven't been that great coming out of
Right.
gaming. But if you just
Yeah.
have to get the right people, the right chemistry, being able to tell certain stories. But that's just the thing. Sometimes you just get real bad depictions, and you can't get away from that. And that's why people sometimes don't want to see games turn into movies because sometimes it just don't mix.
Yeah. I and that's just the way it is. Like they could be actors that you love, and it just didn't work. They just did not work in that movie for whatever reason. It just wasn't there. It happens all the time. Like I like Suicide Squad, the first one they did, and I thought Will Smith and Margot Robbie were really good, but nothing really clicked with all of them together. It just didn't work. Jared Leto's Joker didn't work. Like the chemistry just wasn't there between the whole staff, the whole crew. But then they redid it with like a John Cena and a few other actors, and it gelled a lot better with better writing too. But you could tell they meshed better as a group, and that's sometimes all you need to do is a couple change ups, and then you got a better movie.
Yeah, because like you can't put two likable people and just call it a movie. You can't put
Yeah,
John Cena and Rey Mysterio in Gears of War. It can't be Marcus Phoenix and Dominic.
that'd be
Like,
so funny
it,
though. That'd be the
it doesn't
slowest
make any
Dominic in
sense.
the world.
Yeah, like you can't just put certain people or what. We'll put Cena. We'll put Dominic Mysterio.
We
Like,
put
just,
Cena and Dominic Mysterio.
like some of these just won't mesh right, and you'd be like, "What the heck's going on?"
Just finished Unforgiven 2000. Yeah, you know what? It's a good year for the most part. 2000's a great year. Other than WrestleMania, really, I find. But that's just looking back on it because I didn't grow up watching that era. It was a couple years after for me that I watched. It was Ruthless Aggression era part. Like I know Peanut's probably a bit older, so he probably was like more in tune with Attitude Era. But that's when I started. I started around 2002. I think it was the SmackDown 6 for me. So
Like I was still watching the mixture between WCW, ECW, and
oh my god.
WWE.
So you're a man of a certain vintage, Peanut. What you're saying?
Yeah, because I'm from '92, so I'd be watching a lot of these different eras. So I saw the entire Attitude Era up until what's going on now. Like I even went through the whole Bullet Club stuff. I still wear my Bullet Club shirts to this day, even during streams sometimes. And when I go walking around, people catch me. I'm going down the street. I'm just in like a certain area close to me, or I even taken trips with my wife to Vegas, and people like stop me mid thing. They're like, "Yeah, Bullet Club Days, too sweet me." Like the most randomest place,
Yeah.
someone's gonna too sweet me if they see me in that shirt anywhere, and it's hilarious. My girl's always like, "What the hell? Like, what is that? You know that person?" Like, no, it's a wrestling
Nope. I have
thing.
no idea who
Like,
this is.
like this one
So
time, we went to a snowboarding convention with her
okay.
in the LA Convention Center, and we went for her. She's like, "I want to get into snowboarding. We've never done it," so I'm like, "Whatever, I'll go with you." And we're going. All of a sudden, people are too sweeting me. I'm like, "What the heck?" And my wife's like, "What the hell?" Everywhere we go, I'm like, "I don't know." He was just like doing it.
I feel like it's way more common out where you are because it's not as common out here in Canada for that kind of stuff. But
My
uh,
NWO was black and white before the red Wolfpack.
so were you more black and white or were you Wolfpack?
Oh, more black and white. The Wolfpack did come out. I even have my Sting Wolfpack Funko Pop,
Because you would have been
but
like 5 or 6 during that era.
just about when I started. gaining like knowledge of my surrounding, I was 4 years old.
Okay, because like I'm born in '91, but I didn't start watching wrestling until I was close to high school because I just wasn't allowed to. So I feel like you watched it at an earlier age than I did, so you just managed to catch it. But I had
Yeah, because I
no
was
idea.
late '92, but me I would always watch wrestling. We tape all the pay-per-views and do all that stuff. We pay for them, record them, and then people at school knew we would have recorded, so they'd ask me for the VHS. So I'm like, all
I did
right,
the
cool, here
same
you go.
thing. I did the same thing with a friend of mine in high school, but we did it for TNA Impact because it didn't. We couldn't always catch it on Spike, so he would record it and he would like we would go. I would go to his place on like a Friday night. That's true. A lot of kids were
Yeah.
not allowed to watch Attitude Era. It was definitely more of an adult show. Looking back on it now, too, I gotta say, like, unless it's a certain people, it's not the great. It's not the great gold standard era people remember because a lot of it you cannot do now for good reasons. It's
A lot
like,
of it was raunchy.
yeah, and like I grew up when I first started watching wrestling. It was Triple H. And at the time, I really liked Triple H because he was the only fucking champion I saw. But as I became an adult, I'm like, man, they really did not give a shit about anyone but Triple H, and he was in a lot of shit, like some racist angles with Booker T, and Booker probably should have won. And I didn't appreciate Booker T then because they didn't tell me I should have. So I grew up watching and believing that Triple H was the great, was so good, and then I get into the 2000s when I was in high school. I loved TNA. I stopped watching a lot of Raw because it was easier for me to get Impact. Like I was saying, it was easier for me to watch Impact because we could just watch it on Fridays, and I couldn't always catch a SmackDown because it would move nights or Monday Night Raw. Couldn't stay up wait. I wasn't allowed to stay up and watch that. So I was watching mostly TNA. So I became a big Kurt Angle fan because of that. So
Like me, I would watch a lot of TNA when I was in middle school, high school, just because it was available. So I was like, all right, let's watch it. But I was never into the pay-per-views because I never bought the pay-per-views. Eventually, I saw them down the road, but I would just watch the TV shows. I'm like, all right, cool, because my brothers would always order the pay-per-view for WWE. We never did anything else for pay-per-view wise, but
mm.
we'd be on that. I'd be watching some TNA. That's how I started seeing Bully Ray outside of WWE. I'm like,
Oh,
okay, this is different.
okay. Yeah.
So I'm seeing him going against EC3 versus what's her name? Um,
Oh, I know who you mean too, and it's gonna bother me because I had stopped watching TNA by
Dixie
that point.
Carter. So he's
Dixie
putting
Carter,
Dixie
yes,
Carter through a
yes,
table. I'm seeing Eric Young where he's more of a hero. He's not really like in this dark phase that he's in.
no,
I started seeing Austin Aries, all this stuff, and that's how I got introduced to Bobby Roode. And there's just a
man,
lot of people that I'm like,
another underrated talent. Oh,
yeah, like, there's a lot of people that I'm like, wow, like I've never seen these guys, or I've seen some of these guys, but they're over here now. Okay, this is different. Like I already knew
yeah,
Bully. I'm like, hey, why isn't he called Bubba? And that's when I started realizing, I'm like, oh, copyrights.
yeah. You have to go back. 'Cause I have TNA Plus, and you have to go back and watch that peak time, man. That 2005 to 2009 era was so fun, and that was most of the wrestling I watched was TNA. This is like, and they actually cared about the tag teams a bit more. They actually had women's wrestlers that they actually like. They're more than just beautiful. We can actually wrestle and do shit. And they had the X division, which was always fun. And AJ Styles was a big part of that. And another reason why I like AJ Styles is I still love Samoa Joe to this day too, because that's who I watched more of, and I could not stand the John Cena era after a while. I stopped watching wrestling altogether around 2014 when CM Punk left. I was like, well, I'm done. I'm out.
And the thing
I
is,
didn't come.
actually, I was never a huge fan of Punk. I just sometimes he'd annoy me. I'm like, why this guy? Why this guy?
I just wanted somebody
And
that wasn't John Cena. And they had the one guy, and then he quits. And you're like, well, guess I'm done now because they just kept burying other people they buried Bray. They buried the Shield, which was the coolest thing they had left, and I was done with it. So I was just like, fuck it, and I stopped watching for a bit until AJ Styles won the WWE Championship. I was like, there's no way that's real, and I
So
turned it back on
so you
again.
never got to experience the greatest faction
I
ever, the Core?
I never really had to experience the Core. I pretty much didn't see much of Jinder's later on either because I didn't watch full time again. So thankfully, I missed the whole Jinder Mahal experiment too. I didn't come back to watching wrestling pretty much the full time until the pandemic, really.
So you didn't
Like,
watch 3MB and the rise of gender as the Taj
you know,
Mahal, whatever you want to call himself.
no, the modern day Maharaja was not on my radar. Turns out, Peanut.
Yeah, so you missed the whole Randy Orton and the Punjabi match.
Yeah, I missed the Punjabi prison. Yeah, I missed Khali putting himself over in a title match that he wasn't in. I missed all that.
It's just there's a lot of interesting wrestling that they were just throwing it to the wall and hopefully it stuck. Like there was
When
some
they
random
realized that
stuff.
John Cena wasn't coming back full time, they were like, "Fuck, what do we do? We have nobody left." Like literally, we have Seth, but we're gonna make it Roman. Like, no, we don't want him. We don't want him.
He kept like trying to stuff him down our throat until we finally said, "Okay, we accept you." But
They
they
gave him
didn't really
veneers and
accept him
blue
until
eyes. They're like, "Here you go."
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
like until he came back from his cancer hiatus.
nobody
That's when
cared
people were
about
like,
him.
yeah.
People forget the first
Like,
part of the Bloodline storyline was actually annoying because nobody wanted to see the Usos anymore either. It took Paul Heyman taking over more of the story to really change it. And it was like, thank God they saved this.
yeah, like trying to force it so much till eventually they got it. It's like it's crazy.
There's Yeti putting Lucha Underground over on a non-wrestling show. Thanks. I know we're talking about wrestling, but it's not supposed to be just for that. But yes, I will put that down for you, Yeti, after. Welcome on in. So, Peanut, to end this out, because we have a few minutes left, how did you, like, why are you called Peanut, basically?
So that came from when I was in middle school. I wasn't hanging out with the greatest crowd in the world. Um, Eventually, these guys are like, "Hey, you want to join my group of friends that we're part of this unit that we protect each other and stuff." So it
Oh.
wasn't the best depiction, but eventually I'm like,
Ooh.
"Yeah, sure." So I got put in that, but they're like, "Hey, let's call you Peanut," because they were coming up with different names. I'm like, I don't know. I was like, I wear a lot of Joker brand. Just call me Joker. He's like, no, we already got one of those. One guy's like, hey, let's call this guy Peanut. His head looks like a peanut. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever.
That looks like a peanut.
Yeah. So then I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. So that stuck, and then I stopped doing all that stuff, hanging out with that crowd. Started doing better in school, but that was
That could
back
get
in middle school.
that could get kind of scary though, because like, were you always from LA?
Yes, I was born and raised in that whole area. But
How
the thing is,
easy you could get in trouble there? Like,
pretty easy, especially if you
yeah.
mix yourself with the wrong crowd. But I was in
Mm-hmm.
more. It wasn't a terrible area. I was in a pretty good
Okay.
area, and then
Oh,
we
okay.
moved to what's known as the Valley, which is more Hispanic, a
Yeah,
lot
yeah.
more of
Mm-hmm.
these types of groups, and eventually just moved away from that. I was, I want to focus on sports, so I joined football, focused more on that, got better in my academics, and just going from there. Just kept doing my thing. Eventually, got into security when I graduated from high school. I was going to become a sheriff at one point, so I was getting into law enforcement and just different events. I kept pushing my life different ways. So I went from doing security for many years to getting let go from a job that I didn't do anything. They literally let me go out of spite, and that
Oh,
thing just
okay.
it kept me from going into the sheriff department just because they're like, hey, if you get if you continue, they're gonna see it as insubordination, because you gotta let go because they're always gonna side with the employer. So I'm like, oh, that's
Yeah,
bull. So they're
HR
like,
is always
hey.
doing that, man. Like,
Mhm.
it's
So I was
ridiculous.
like, hey, what can I do? They're like, well, you can take like some time off and just say, hey, you know, you learned your lesson, come back. If not, we can go ahead and continue. You might get it, but it might be a gray mark on your file, and that's going to be pretty bad. I'm like, all right, I'll take some time off, and then I never went back to it, which I could have, but I took a complete different 180. I went back into doing mechanic work and just built a passion. And I went to the aftermarket world for parts. Eventually, got into a car dealership and been there since. Eventually
Okay,
changed jobs, but I'm still at the dealership level. So I just been management for a couple years already, and
that's
that's where
pretty.
I'm
So
at
you
now.
so, so you're a pretty good gig overall. Like you managed to turn your life into a pretty good life.
Oh yeah, and that middle school thing, it was more like a phase in middle school. It carried on to
Right.
like high school a little bit, where I was hanging out still with a couple people, but that was it. But I was more into sports. So
That was
then,
good. That was good because again, like
yeah,
you probably know people that have fallen into the wrong trap for longer than they should have.
yeah, like some people aren't alive anymore. Some people are in jail, and some
Yeah.
people just
Yeah.
they got a downhill life. But I've been able to spin that around and just change it to something completely different.
Yeah. Like I'm not from the nicest smaller city either, and you could easily fall into issues like where I'm from. It's a lot of teen pregnancies and a lot of drugs per capita for how big it is. It's actually crazy. And no, I just tried to avoid a lot of that for the most part, and it worked out pretty good. But I know a lot of people that just they're gone now because they just didn't get out when they should have, and it was very unfortunate to hear about it years later. Like I knew one kid, he like punched another. He was on some sort of drug, and he was on he was on our rugby team, and he punched some kid in the ear and broke his eardrum, and then he was expelled. And then we find out that he like passed away a few years later. They suspect probably drug overdose, and he was only like 19, which is like
Mm.
crazy. Um, so it's important to find the right outlets, especially from certain cities. It can be really tough. But Peanut, so one last thing then. Work. When do you do the Nutty Podcast typically, and where can we find you?
So I do it every other Sunday from 9:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we just did this past Sunday, so we're skipping this Sunday. So it's going to be in 9 days.
Okay, and you're just gonna wing it and go for the hope for the best again. And your partner is Skip Starhelper, who we'll have on again and probably crash out about books once again.
Yep. So basically, yeah, just wing it and just shoot for the best. Sometimes we're like, hey, let's touch upon these topics, or sometimes we just hey, what are we talking about today? I don't know. Let's just starting point, and we'll go from
Huh.
there. I know we're gonna do another book talk pretty soon because Skip wants to do that. I'm like, yeah, sure, because he's my co-host. I'm not gonna just let him have zero ideas. I'm all about collabing, and that's why I got teamnutty.com where I'm doing collabs, and now Skip has his own part on there. And anybody part of Nutty collabs,
Cool.
even if you want to join, I'll add you to that page. If you want to put any merch on there, any bio, whatever it might be, you sell any merch, all of it goes towards you. It's not something that I'm keeping. I'd rather share it to you guys, but I'm giving
That's
you
an
guys a
awesome
platform
initiative.
to use it at. Because in my mind, I'm already paying for the site. I own the domain. Why not
Yeah.
just share it with people for them to grow? And whatever they want to do, they don't have to pay extra. They don't have to do anything extra. All I'm giving you your platform. You have your own page to it and your own bio.
That's awesome, man. And yeah, you shoot me a message, and I mean, if he needs another book person, the three of us can have a chat. I have no problem with that. Whatever you guys want to do, you let me know, Peanut, because I'm definitely interested in teaming up with you. Yeti says you're awesome. I'm sure Yeti would be interested at some point with you as well, because
Yeah.
Yeti is a chaos merchant. So I feel like you would appreciate him.
Yeah, if even if Yeti wants to add a portion to teamnutty.com, like I added a portion where it's all collabs and skips the first part on it. He's the one who helped me grow. I give you guys a title, a small bio, and then just you guys put your merch wherever you want to do. Yeah, and even if you want your chaos in there, you can put your merch with a bunch of chaos in there. If you've seen Skip's merch, if you've seen the first one he put out, we put out another one, but right now we put a pause on it because we're trying to see if it was a defect on his shirt or if it was just like that image was too dark, that there was too much black on it, so we're trying to figure that out. But if you've seen his merch, his very first one is a diver's helmet on the front.
Okay.
But on the back, you have an interesting image of a spaceman and a mermaid holding two corn dogs in a very
is it the Skip a Sutra picture?
That is not the Skip a Sutra picture, but that one was the one we put a pause on temporarily.
Okay.
But if you go to team90.com, you're going to see currently a mermaid making a very sensual feel with a spaceman holding two corn dogs on the back.
That's actually awesome, Peter. I'm looking at it right now. It's actually ridiculous.
Yeah, he wanted it, and that's how he loved it. He's like, "It's so ridiculous, I love it." Was his catchphrase to that.
Honestly, like ridiculous shirts sell more than just regular shirts. Like, people want obscure shirts. I'm wearing one that I won from you guys. It's kind of an obscure one, like, but it's really cool. Like, it works. It fits really well. The graphics really big on it too. But I'm also very big, so I got a big size. But
that's the thing.
I just picked the color.
Yeah.
Oh, it has that.
That image worked really good. Yep, Team Nutty on the side.
I didn't even see that. Man, I just got in the dark blue because I already have a lot of black. So, yeah, it worked out good. Thank you for being on, man, and we're gonna definitely do this again with you and just keep going.
Yeah, anytime, and then well, I'll talk to Skip, see when he wants to do the book talk, and we'll see about bringing you on.
Sure, absolutely. Is there anyone that we could rate out to on our way out that we can either we've already known or someone we can be introduced to?
Unless you want to rate Skip because he's on right now.
We'll go bug Skip. We'll go bug Skip about a Skip a Sutra. Skip Starhopper, he's great, guys. His book is not the Skip a Sutra, but we really wish it was. But he is playing Hunt the Showdown right now, and we'll be back on next week for more Cedar Buff action. And we're gonna do a list program called "You Just Made the List," where we do it's a wrestling list. We're gonna do top 10 favorite wrestling championship designs and 10 least favorite. I feel like we probably agree on a lot of least favorite ones, like that Divas Championship that most people are like, that's not very good. But it should be a fun time. No, I feel like no. We'll get into that probably next week though, and I'll ask who wants to be a part of it, and we'll go from there. Until next time, thank you guys for coming out, and you guys have a good night.
Have a good one, everybody.
I saw your message earlier, Yuna. Yo, what's up, Chef Mike?
Hello.
How you doing, bud?
Hello.
Appreciate the raid.
I've come to pester Mike.